This is a 2026 Geely EX5, and you might be thinking, what is a Geely? Well, actually it's a brand you probably know of in the background, because Geely are the owners now of Lotus, Volvo, Polestar and LEVC, who make all of the electric black cabs in London. So they've got a good reputation then for making some pretty robust vehicles, and Geely is their entry-level brand aiming to bring a luxury SUV to a lower price segment. So this is a sort of crossover C-segment SUV with a D-segment interior size, aiming for the likes of the BYD Atto 3 and also some higher end alternatives like the Skoda Enyaq. Prices range from £30,000 to £36,000 roughly here in the UK, which actually is a bit of a steal for a car of this size. Supports really rapid charging, has a fantastic luxurious interior and ride quality, but there's a few little things that I dislike about it when it comes to the way it drives. But of course there's got to be compromise at this price, right? But is it still worth you getting one of these over some of its rivals and some of the more expensive cars? That's what I'm here to find out today. So please join me as I take a full tour of the car, get it out on the road and see what I think. But before we get into it, if you are interested in selling your car the easy way, please hit my CarWow affiliate link in the description below. All you've got to do is enter your reg, they'll give you an instant valuation, dealers will bid on your car, and if you accept that bid, they'll come collect it from your home and put money in the bank. Easy as that. And if you're looking to buy a new car, I can help you with that too through my dealer affiliate, Players Cars Premium. Again, link in the description below. Talk to Elliot and he will sort you out, my sales guy. He will find whatever car you want. We do APR as low as 6.9% on finance, free home delivery and 24/7 communication via WhatsApp. So no waiting for pesky emails. We can sort you out super easy with whatever car you need. So buying or selling, links below. So then, the EX5 starts at just over £31,000 for the entry-level SE model. There is only one drivetrain to choose from, which is a single front-mounted motor, 215 horsepower, and obviously, yeah, front-wheel drive, and that is probably one of the downfalls of the driving experience of this car. It would be much better if it was rear-wheel drive, in my opinion, but we'll go on to that in a little bit. The battery pack is just over 60 kilowatt hours with a range of around 250 to 260 miles WLTP, and supports up to 160 kilowatt rapid charge. 0 to 60 comes in around 6.9 seconds, so quite sprightly. And the beauty of this is it does come with an 8-year 125,000 mile vehicle and battery warranty with service packages and also 4 years roadside assistance when bought from a dealership. Entry level equipment is really good. 18-inch alloys, LED headlights, heated and electrically adjustable seats, heated steering wheel, a massive 15.4-inch central touchscreen with AI voice control, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which are wireless, all the adaptive cruise and ADAS systems with blind spot monitoring, 360 top-down cam, auto air conditioning, privacy glass, the list goes on and on. If you step it up to the Pro trim at just under 34,000, you get basically some exterior styling, so 19-inch alloys, some optional interior colour choices, and also the option to go for a cloud interior, which I really prefer over the standard midnight one. And then the top of the range version at just under 37,000 is the Max, which has a pan roof, powered tailgate, ventilated and massaging front seats with memory, ambient lighting, which really does lift the cabin, a head-up display, which works pretty well, and a premium 16-speaker audio system, which I really like in this car. And also 5-star Euro NCAT, which is good for a car of this class, and the 8-year warranty. So I think really your key rivals here are the BYD Atto 3, which definitely doesn't have the same level of comfort, fit and finish as this, and also the MGS5, which I do really like because it's a rear-wheel drive car with much better driving dynamics. However, definitely, again, not as comfy and plush as this. So there are obviously some compromises to have here, but to be honest, I think that actually when you look at the competition, this represents a really good value package. In terms of styling then, this one is in a frost grey, which is your typical sort of battleship grey that most cars come in these days, and it is a very unassuming design. As you can see, quite modern. People do seem to be interested and ask what it is because it's got a different badge on it. And in general, I would say that a lot of people who are in a market for a car like this, they're not going to be too bothered about the styling. They probably like the fact that it is quite unassuming. At the front, it's nice and tapered front end. You've got these nice LED lights with daytime running lights, and you've also got your indicators integrated, as well as some kind of fake grills down here, which just add a little bit of flair to the front end. You've got your Geely badge there, which is pretty plain, but you know, it does the trick. You can see exactly what it is. And I think overall it does look all right. This is the top end Max one I've got here, so it has the optional alloys and all the bells and whistles, but I think it still represents really good value. You can probably get hold of one of these from a dealership from below £35,000 with all the different contributions and things, and it comes with these nice diamond cut alloys. You can see there's a decent little bit of ride height, nothing too extreme, definitely that kind of crossover segment style. And under here you have your charge flap, which is a manual one, nice and easy to use, and like I said, high voltage charging available as well. Personally, I'm not a massive fan of having it in that location, but it's definitely not the end of the world. There's definitely a little bit of styling cues down the side as well. You can see you've got this kind of crease that runs along that makes it a little bit more interesting, and the pop out handles as well, they come out automatically when you grab the key. The keyless entry works really well. You just walk up to the car, it unlocks, walk away, it locks, very similar to something like a Tesla or something, but this does make a loud noise when you lock and unlock it. At the back we have this quite nice light bar that runs all the way along the rear, and this kind of little spoiler where the third brake light is as well. Nothing too extreme with the styling at the back. Again, it's very kind of muted. This almost reminds me a little bit at the back here of like a Porsche Macan or something like that. Quite straightforward, but it's got that kind of light bar finish to it, and these are really nice bright LED tail lights. And yeah, it's not got a badge in the middle, which I think looks a little bit weird, but because of this little accent here, I don't think it looks too terrible, and you've got the actual badging for it there. I've got to say, I prefer the back to the front. I think the back looks a little bit more purposeful, and like I said, a little bit Porsche at the back, I would say even. So almost think of this as, say, a cut price Volvo EX30. It's the same company behind it effectively, but it's a very different drivetrain. The Volvos are rear-wheel drive, and I think, like I say, that's something that lets this down a little bit in terms of the driving dynamics, but a lot of people buying this sort of car don't care. They just want a comfy, reliable car, and with a warranty like this, I've got to say this is super comfortable, and we're going to dive into the interior now to show you a little bit more. So I've got a key that looks a little bit like a bar of soap, which is a little bit odd. As we walk up to the car, you'll see that it unlocks and presents the door handle to me like that, and as we walk away from the car, you'll see that it automatically locks and makes a sound. So as we open the door then, nice hefty door, lots of quality feel to this, and the materials are all really nice. You've got this kind of fake leather up the top, and it's in this midnight navy blue in this particular car, and then we've got some gloss black trim, which actually does look quite good because it's got some kind of texture to it and it's not too smudgy. And as we go down here, again, nice squidgy on the door, like for your elbow, and these toggle switches for the windows, also really, really nice quality. They go like that, up and down, and then you've got a toggle there. Again, this is all plastic, but these are kind of like almost like a knurled aluminium feel to them, and yeah, just a really high quality finish. It just feels really good. And then as we go down here, we have a speaker grill there for your audio system, a nice space for a bottle, and a nice deep area in the door pocket, which is always good. And as we head into the cabin, you can see that we have an absolutely glorious display in the middle, which is currently set to a nice sunset scene, and then you've got a driver's display as well. And overall, a really large, spacious cabin, lots of fit and finish. And the sunroof, annoyingly, stays shut unless you activate it in the screen, or you can use voice control for it. So I'll do that when we hop in. But these seats are really good. You've got electric adjustment on this one. And you can see also there's a little flap under the carpet there for your vehicle's VIN identifier, which is an interesting place to put it. And these seats are pretty good. You can see there's a little badge on there, and they're quite plush. The leather on them is really nice quality. It feels almost like stuff that you'd find in like a Genesis or something like that, much more high end. And there's also, if you notice, some perforations on the headrest here for a built-in speaker. So the system can automatically detect if there's passengers, and if it does, then they'll put navigation and also your like smart features for your smartphone, reading text and that kind of thing, all through this speaker here, or Bluetooth calls, so that the rest of the cabin can continue with music and you can get the sound directly through here. Pretty cool touch. And this high-end model has ventilation, heating and massage, which is really good, especially at this price range. That is a really, really nice touch, and these seats are super comfortable and supportive. Another note, if you head round to the passenger side, you'll see that you've also got an airplane style seat on this side. So that's something, unfortunately, you only get on the passenger side, but this seat reclines quite far back. You've also got ISOFIX in there as well, but this actually, in a full recline, will come out all this way, so you can have a really relaxed seating position. So as we head in, let's get the car shut, and what you'll find is even the sound insulation is pretty good in here, and as you can see, a really nice spacious cabin. It does feel quite separated because of this large center console, but as you can see, there's a big gap down there with space for some charging. So you've got USB-C, A and a standard power outlet, and it means that you can probably pop a bag down there or something. And then you've got this nice finish on the center console. Like I mentioned, I prefer the two-tone cloud interior, but this one is still a really modern and nice place to sit. You've got a really squared off steering wheel, which I'm not a massive fan of, but it does have some useful controls on it. So on this side, this controls all of your cruise control, but although it's not really labelled. You've also got a shortcut button there, which you can program. On this side, you've got your media controls, again, not labelled, voice control, and also this button here, which kind of cycles through all the different bits and bobs on that screen in front. So if I zoom in on there, if I press that, you can see that it brings up a separate control panel, and I can now use my media controls to cycle through these different screens, which is pretty useful. It just shows you kind of a few bits of information about the driving data. So quite intuitive to use, but nothing too exciting or special. And of course, you've got infrared for the driver fatigue warning. The indicator stalks, as you can see, are kind of similar to a Tesla. They do bring up a top-down view as opposed to a blind spot camera, which is a little bit weird. I would prefer a blind spot camera. The only annoying thing is though, is when even if you press down a little bit and hold, this is supposed to be 3, it will still cancel even though I'm holding it. Whereas in my Tesla, it will still continue going until I let go of it. But obviously you can just press it down and it will stay continuous anyway. It does take a little bit of getting used to this control though, because you've got all of your wiper bits on there as well. And if you want controls for your lights, you need to go through the screen. And on this side, you have your standard drive select. So again, park at the end, down for drive, up for reverse, nice and easy. And on the dash, as you can see, we do have a head-up display, which is okay, not the best I've seen, but it does the trick. And then you've also got this Flyme sound system, and Flyme is the brand that they use for the infotainment screen as well. And I have checked that is how you pronounce it. I like these sort of stick-up speakers. I like the way there's like these ripples in this leather effect on the dash to make it look like sound waves. And this system, they say it's 1,000 watts in this high-end car, so this is on the Max model only. And I don't think it's got quite that much punch when it comes to the subwoofer, but I love this sound system. It sounds really good. It's got loads of spatial audio and kind of surround effects that make it sound really great in here. And there's also a few other speakers dotted around the cabin. And as you can see over here, we've got a nice kind of accent that runs along. There's some ambient lighting that runs along underneath there on the Max model as well, which I do think lifts the cabin at night. And just as you can see, like everything looks and feels really nice quality. There is no real physical controls, unfortunately, but there's a couple here that are useful. So you've got climate control on and off. I love that. Auto climate, recirc, and heated windscreen. So these physical buttons I think are a really great addition. And this lovely, lovely click wheel here is for your media volume. As for the glove box, there is one here. You press that in, opens up. So you can see we've got some documentation for the car in there. It's quite small, but it does the trick. And then in the center console area here, you've got a pop-up area for your cup holders. So quite small cup holders, which are quite difficult to get stuff in and out of. So that is one downside, I think. And then under here, a large storage area in the center, which is always a nice touch. And leaving space for a nice armrest so that I can really get comfy when driving along with this heated wheel. So yeah, as for this display here, nothing too exciting to report. This will come up with like your driving information and your ADAS stuff when you're going along, and then you've got your basic information on the left-hand side. It's really clear though. You can see the font is nice and modern, but this screen in the middle is the star of the show. This is a really, really nice screen. So Flyme is their platform they use for this, and it was a competitor at some point apparently to Xiaomi in the mobile phone segment through Meizu. So they really know what they're doing basically, and you can tell when you go through, everything is super instant responsive. I think the only thing that I've seen rival this is a modern Tesla. Apart from that, I don't think there's anything that will touch this on the market. It is just so responsive. What is annoying though is having to go in here to do a lot of things. Like I said, for example, the lights, to put them to automatic, and I have to put that back. You have to come in here every time to turn off all of the ADAS bongs and bings and warnings. But obviously climate controls are nice and easy to use. You can see very Tesla-esque, and you've got the shortcuts down there. I normally just set and forget. There's also your voice assistant on here. There's some apps built in such as Spotify, which is always nice, but I always use obviously Apple CarPlay. Apple CarPlay actually is fantastic on here. Look at the size of the map on here. You can see it's super easy to see where you are and have like a full screen view. It just looks great. So yeah, it's a really great display. It's bright, there's loads of contrast, you know, saturation is great. It's just super responsive. I love it. But as I mentioned, there are so many things you have to go through this to do. So stuff like your massage seats, for example, you have to go into here and we have to go onto comfort seats, and then it will give me the option to go to seat comfort, and then I can do the massage modes. There's all these different modes for the massage. And also if we go back to vehicle settings, to open the sunroof, I have to go into vehicle controls. I have to click on this little bit up here, and then there's the option to open and close the sunshade. I can do it through voice as well, but there's no control for it up here. All that's up here is like your little panel for your hazard lights and like microphones and stuff like that. There's nothing up there really, so I have to go onto here and press and unlock that, or use the voice control. And for some reason this automatically closes every time you park the car and leave it. Don't know why, don't know if there's a setting to change that. It's super annoying, I don't like it. There is, however, a shortcut menu that you can pull down from, and it does give you the option for some shortcuts to those things that I mentioned. So it's a bit quicker to get to it from here rather than having to tap through those menus. You can also go into rest mode or camping mode, which mean that the car will stay powered on. And there's also your 3 drive modes here as well if you don't want to dive into the settings. So yeah, it's a little bit less fiddly while driving to access that quick menu, but it's still a little bit frustrating to use sometimes. Up here, we've just got some basic vanity mirrors with your lights, which is nice. And overall the quality, even up top here, is really good. And then you've got a decent visibility out of the rear. The only thing I would say is there is a big chunky C-pillar, as you can see, but the camera, really good. Let's open up the 360 cam. You can see I've got a top down view, and you've also got, so this one's showing front view. I can also then go around the car to the back view. So yeah, it's pretty good. The actual definition of this is one of the best I've seen as well. You can actually read number plates and stuff from quite far away. So it's a pretty nice touch. And then there's also a 360 view that you can use, which again is really nice clarity, to be fair. It looks really good. So overall, I am really impressed with the quality in here. Like everything you touch, the materials, it's all lovely. Even down here where it's plastic, it doesn't feel cheap and nasty. It feels solid. It feels like something like a Genesis, quite a high-end kind of luxury segment car. But at this price, when you consider this is under £35,000 from a dealership, it actually represents, I think, fantastic value in the comfort area of things. And this same story continues in the back of the car, where there is a ton of space for this segment of car. They've made sure to extend the wheelbase as far as they can do it in this segment, just so that they've got extra legroom and extra cargo area, and it has paid off. Again, a really large, generous door bin back here, which is unusual for this sort of car, and that same nice quality toggle switch for your windows. Nothing too special back here, but as you can see, completely flat floor, with loads of space for your legs, and you've got a standard pocket on the back of the seats. Down here, you've got some USB-C and A for charging, and also a drawer that you can pull out for storage. Now, this isn't what you'd expect. You'd probably expect it to just be a little cubby, but it's actually quite a large drawer. It says maximum 2 kilograms of weight in there, but it could be useful to use it for the kiddies as like a little rubbish bin, or to store things like, you know, headphones, phone chargers, all that good stuff. There's also in the middle of this area a truly huge drawer, good for only 3.5 kilos, but you could store loads of stuff under there, couldn't you? And you've also got a tether down there for your child seat. And talking of that, Isofix is really strong. You've got these lift up flap covers, which I like because they're plastic, so they're not going to get damaged. It's not going to ruin the leather, and also they're not ones that pull out. They just fold and click, so you're not going to lose those over time, which is always really, really good. In the center, you've got this nice pull down armrest with also a little cup holder in there as well, probably more generous than the ones in front, in fact. And back here in this high-end model, you've also got some ceiling speakers, which makes a nice difference to the immersion and the surround sound effects that are built into that audio system. But look how much space there is back here. It just looks so spacious, especially with the pan roof on the Max model. This actually is a really, really nice space to sit, so I'm going to hop in and show you what I think. So stepping into the back of the EX5, and this is where this car truly impresses at this price. I'm 6 foot, I'm sitting behind my own driving position. In fact, this will be in the slightly lowered comfort position, so I've probably got a little bit more than this when I actually get in. And yeah, I've got a nice kind of steep recline on here. Thigh support's okay, but I've got quite long lanky legs, to be honest, so if I was to kind of arrange my legs a bit more freely, there we go. And I've got somewhere to place my arm. I can pull this armrest down and I can get super comfy back here. And actually the middle seat isn't that raised, so yes, it will be cramped with 3 adults back here, but it's not going to be the end of the world. Like, you could just about manage it, although I wouldn't recommend it, but it's not going to be terrible for 3 small children, which is always good. And yeah, it's just quite a nice experience. I can stretch out quite a bit, and for this price and size of car, the headroom is really good as well, even with the sunroof on this model, which does eat into it ever so slightly. Yeah, loads and loads of room back here. Feels really comfortable. And then when it comes to the tailgate, press the button under here or do it on the key. And this one has a power tailgate, being the max version. And I've left my stuff in here just so you can kind of see what the load area looks like, and then I'll pull that out. But nice flat load area, as you can see, really easy to get things in and out. And you've got a nice high quality parcel shelf here, which literally just lifts and then pushes back, which is always a nice touch. So with my stuff removed, you can see a really generous space indeed. The materials back here aren't as good as up front, but I don't really care. You've got the subwoofer for the sound system built in this one, and you've also got some little hooks which say max 3 kilograms, so that's good for shopping and stuff like that. And then underneath the floor, you've got a massive well as well. So you can see we've got the charging cable in there, but that literally goes down pretty much to the bottom of the car. You'd expect it to be a much shallower space being an EV with batteries, but actually it's really good. You can see we've even got space under there for a few other bits, and this floor is adjustable, so you can lower it to that slightly lower height if you want to. But that's a massive well. Just look at the size of that, it's huge. And then we close that back up. We've got a little generous little pocket down here as well, and this also comes out, so it is literally like you'd expect from like a Kia or Hyundai. The whole thing just comes out, and you can store that under there as well. So with the load cover stowed away, it's a really nice flat space. There is no electric adjustment back here, and it is just a 60-40 split, but it's easy to just lean in and push those both down. So press that, press that. You'll notice as well the seat belts are on runners, which is a nice touch. It means they don't snag. It's nice and easy to put this back up, and this gives you a massive generous load area. There is a tiny bit of a ramp, but it's obviously covered by the carpet, which means it's going to be easy to load long items in. And if you obviously want something that would go through a normal ski hatch, because we don't have that, you could get away with just lowering that side there. But I think a super decent space, and also a really tall area to load with as well. So going to be really practical, I think, especially at this price point. No fancy features back here, but just a super useful practical space. And then if we head round to the side and open the doors, you'll notice that again, because the seat belts haven't snagged, it's going to be really easy for me to just with one hand pop that back up. So again, the Geely continues to impress with its practicality. So let's get it out on the road and see what it actually drives like then. Right, I'm going to put the car in its sportiest setting. Get that sound effect there. You get this. There's comfort. Eco. So, sportiest setting then. Drive. And I'm just going to plant it. Oh, wheel spin. Bit of torque steer from the front. The front wheel drive doesn't, there's 60. The front wheel drive doesn't always appreciate the kind of the hard starts, especially out of junctions. And this is, I think, probably the main downfall of this. But let's talk first about the positives, and it is that comfort. Like I mentioned, this is really aims to be a super comfy car, and a super comfy car it is. The combination of these seats with the heating, ventilation, the massage function, driving position is really nice. I can get my elbows rested. I can rest my sort of hands at the bottom of the steering wheel here. I can get a nice position with the wheel. There's tilt and telescopic adjustment as well, which is always good. And just plodding along, there's enough power that it's there on tap when I need it, quite responsive. The big downside is no one pedal drive, and that's a shame, because I think in traffic this would be sublime if it had one pedal drive. But unfortunately, even though there is a few different kind of regen modes, there's like a low, medium, high regen, it defaults to medium when you start the vehicle for whatever reason. And yeah, it's okay. It does mean that obviously when you let off the accelerator it will start to brake a little bit, but it's definitely no Tesla when it comes to the kind of immediate response and that one pedal driving. And there are a lot of rivals, you know, Kias, Hyundais, all that do have the option to adjust it on the fly with paddles and stuff like that. This just doesn't have any of that. But obviously if you're coming from an older car, or you're not really bothered about one pedal drive, that's not going to fuss you much. The only kind of interior noise that I've got is some wind from this corner. Even though this isn't double paned or laminated glass or anything, it still does a decent job of keeping out a lot of the road noise from passing vehicles and stuff like that. And yeah, generally it's okay, to be fair. And just cruising along, the adaptive cruise does a good job keeping you in lane as well. Like, it will automatically kind of keep you centered, and it can be a little bit intrusive at times. It fights you a little bit, but it also takes some of the fatigue out of driving. It's just not quite as good as the Kia, Hyundai and Genesis one-touch driving assist feature on the steering wheel that will steer for you. This kind of does most of the work, but not all of it. But the intelligent cruise control does a pretty decent job as well, and the only thing that will annoy you is all the beeps and bongs, and that is constant. It just keeps going, keeps going, keeps going, and it will reset itself every time you put the car in park, so you have to keep going into the menu and disabling it. It's really frustrating. It would be nice if there was a better shortcut for it. Shut up! Please, please stop bogging at me. The suspension's pretty compliant. There's not major amounts of body roll, but it's super plush at the same time. Like, it seems to iron out a lot of the road, and it can wallow a little bit, but I think some people will really like that, coming from a lot of other cars that are really firm. Like, modern cars tend to be a lot more firm. So yeah, this has kind of that kind of slightly more wafty old school feel to it. And like I said, this seat combined with this ride for long journeys, this is going to be really nice. And at least you've got the fast charging, so it kind of makes up for not having the longest range. The steering does weight up really nicely at speed as well, which is always reassuring. It's been tuned for European roads, and in this case has actually done a decent job. And at low speed, super light, so easily maneuverable around town and that kind of thing, which is always a nice experience. But the one thing I will say about the steering is that there is almost no texture when you're throwing the car around, especially at lower speed, so just beware of that. And yeah, for a soft ride, it's not even that fidgety either when you go over little bumps and imperfections. It's just quite a nice experience. Combined with the fact that this is still kind of crossover sized from the exterior point of view, and the cameras are good and all that kind of thing, it's going to be a breeze and a doddle to maneuver around town, but also sublime on a longer journey as well. So I think actually from a comfort perspective, it's pretty much nailed it. There are a few little quirks that I don't like. For example, the head-up display, when it wants me to exit the motorway, it tells me to exit the wrong way as if I'm driving on the right-hand side of the road. So I guess that's just a software thing they haven't changed from other markets. I also don't like when the speed limit bong is going off and you're indicating, the indicator noise stops. So I have to look down to make sure that I am actually still indicating. How bizarre. The exterior noises of the car as well are a little bit loud and intrusive, and thankfully the creep one you can turn off, but have a listen to what it's like. Listen. Sounds like the ice cream van's coming. Right, this is where it falls apart a little bit though. Front wheel drive. Yes, the turning circle is good, but you apply any sort of throttle. Oh, it's really struggling to put the power down. It's spinning up a little bit as you exit the junction. The body roll wasn't too bad, but the traction control kicks in and cuts the power, or you just end up lighting up the wheels coming out of a junction, even if there's a tiny little bit of rain on the road. I think it's just because the front end goes a little bit light, and obviously being front wheel drive as well, all that power going directly to the front wheels just takes away some of the driver engagement, I think. When you compare it to something like an ES5, which has got the rear wheel drive, it just feels a lot nicer to kind of throw down a B road, and this unfortunately doesn't have that. Although the handling is decent and it's quite poised, it's just not special feeling, and I think the fact that it is front wheel drive lets it down a little bit. That being said though, a lot of people won't care. Like, a lot of people are going to be buying this to potter around town, you know, go and pick the kids up from school and all that good stuff, and that's the kind of thing that it does really well. So if you kind of ignore the dynamic side of it, I think really there's not a lot that can have it beat. Yeah, see a bit of understeer through here. Wheels are spinning up. I'm only doing 35 there, about 35, 36, and the wheels are spinning up there like crazy. Don't get me wrong though, this is enough power for a family car of this size. It actually feels like there's quite a lot of grunt. Let's throw it in here, listen to the wheel spin. That was probably 60% throttle into there. It just can't handle it, and it's a little bit slippery out today, but nothing crazy. Brakes also are a little bit weird. There's two modes, there's a normal mode and a sport mode. In sport mode, they're far too grabby. It's almost like dangerous feeling, I would say. Like there's almost no pedal feel at all, and then suddenly it just snaps your neck off. But again, the actual handling itself, the way the body moves around, is fine. I was expecting, because of the ride comfort, a lot of body roll and lean, and for it to feel like a bit of a wet fish. But actually it's okay, and on a really bumpy road like this, and when the steering firms up, I do get a bit more texture, which is nice. Eco mode really softens everything up and makes the throttle response a lot less active. Comfort mode, well, it's a nice in-between really. It's just not a patch on the MG in terms of how it feels in the bends. And that wheel spin situation, they just need to sort that out. There's got to be a better way. But again, I'm putting it under quite a lot of load here. If you're just driving around town, you're not going to notice this stuff. Maybe only when you floor it out of a junction. See, I think the key takeaway really is that this is a super comfortable car packed with really nice tech. There's definitely a few little annoyances like I've mentioned, and I'm sure they could probably change a few bits in software updates like Tesla do, and let's hope that they continue to do so. But the overall package for the money, especially with that warranty, is actually really appealing, I would say. I wouldn't let the fact that it's a kind of a new entry to the UK put you off, nor would I say it's something that you should rule out because of the fact that there's a few bits with the driving are a little bit iffy. I think if you just want something that's going to be a nice runaround, this is a safe car, which is always good for a Chinese EV that is a bit lesser known, and it's packed with tech that is clearly quite reliable and has been geared to the UK use. Couple that with lots of luxury features and a truly fantastic quality cabin, this is actually really good value for money. If it was rear-wheel drive and if you could turn that bong off easier, I'd say go out and buy one right now. But those two things are really the major bits that put me off of this. There you go, it's starting again. I was 1 mile an hour over then for just a second. It started bonging already. And also I yawned earlier and it started flashing up loads of warnings saying that I shouldn't drive because I'm fatigued. But if you can overlook those things and you're just going to use this for pottering around, really, there's not a lot that can beat it at this price in my opinion. It makes the Atto 3's interior look a little bit childish, and in terms of like the big players like Skoda and Nissan, well, I think this is just going to be a much comfier place to spend a lot of time. And now that we're back down to low speeds, maneuverability is great, and the wheelbase isn't too long, visibility is good, the camera's good. Also remember, 36 grand new, so that's without like dealer contributions, you know, a couple of grand off on the forecourt and all that good stuff. So yeah, imagine picking up a high-end one of these for like 30. That's crazy value. That's like less than your average Golf nowadays, and that thing will feel like an ancient carriage in comparison. So there we go guys, the Geely EX5. I actually think a really interesting proposition, especially if you can get one at the right price. It's just such a comfy and lovely place to sit. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks to Geely for sending out the car. I really do appreciate it. All of your likes, comments, subscriptions all go such a long way. And if you want to check out the rival cars, please do click on the channel to see more. And also, if you're looking for a new car or you want to sell yours, links in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.